This is going to be an overview of the VHF UHF capabilities of the KC Heart program. All of our facilities are set up with the same equipment. Each facility has two radios. Both are capable of doing VHF and UHF, but the 8900 from Yaesu is going to be capable of two additional bands, 6 meters and 10 meters. We'll go through each part. Most of the time we'll be talking about the 8900, but where it varies from the 8800 we'll point that out for you. The radios are capable of 4 bands only on the left-hand side of the 8900. So the right-hand side will only be able to do the 2 meter and the 440 or the 70 centimeter capabilities. These radios all require nominal 12 volts, anywhere between 11.5 and 15 volts of power of DC to operate. Typical draw for the power supplies is about a half a amp on receive and about 8.5 amps on transmit. So transmit power, however, is usually 50 watts on full power, 20 watts on the first low setting, or the medium setting, excuse me. First low setting is 10 watts, and then 5 watts for the lowest setting. The 70 centimeter side only will max out at 35 watts. So as we go through, we'll go through the radio controls. Again, these operate all the same on both models of radio. The radio controls are the upper left knob, which is used to tune the VFO if it's in VFO mode, or to select a channel when it's in memory mode. If you push and hold the knob to change bands when in the VFO mode. So now you can dial the knob and the frequencies will change. The lower left knob is used to control the volume and the squelch. The knob that's closest to you does the volume, clockwise rotation to turn it up, counterclockwise rotation to turn it down. Same thing for the ring around the back side of that knob. Will open the squelch if it's turned all the way to the left or counterclockwise, and if you turn it all the way to the right, it will open the squelch up. Hypermemory buttons that are around the frame where the frequencies are displayed, they're numbered 1 through 6, are really not utilized in the KC Heart capabilities. If you'd like to program those, you can, but they're really not part of our standard configuration. Lower control keys on the left are duplicated on the right. So there are basically two radios in this radio, one that's fully capable of transmit and receive independently of the left side, the right side and the left side. The keys are by default apply changes to the respective sides. You can configure it to be different, but we would prefer that you leave them in the default settings so that the left side keys operate the left hand side of the radio and vice versa. So the keys are, the first one is labeled low, and that selects through the different RF power selections. Again, low being 5 watts, mid 2 being 10 watts, mid 1 being 20 watts, and high is either 50 or 35. The exception of 35 is only for the 70 centimeter band. If you press and hold that button, it will toggle the frequency display from the alphanumeric characters to the actual frequency that you're operating on. The next button is the V/M button, or VFO/memory selection. It'll toggle you between the VFO mode and the memory mode. If you push and hold in the VFO mode, it will start to scan. If you push the HM, that is the home button, it will take you to a predetermined frequency. You are welcome to configure that frequency to be whatever you like for the KC Heart program. Typically that's your next closest repeater, but you can use it however you like. If you push and hold it, it'll scan just the priority frequencies if you've identified certain channels to be priority frequencies. The last button is the one marked SCN, or scan. This will start the scanning of all the memory channels. If you push and hold it, it will allow you to configure the scan skip list. So you can tell it which ones you would like it to skip over. For example, we have programmed in our standard template all of the frequencies for National Weather Service. You probably want to leave those out of your scan rotation because they will catch every time they come by because they constantly transmit. The next button that you'll see is right in between the two sets of left and right buttons is the set button, and that brings up the menu. The problem with the set button is it's not labeled in any way, so you kind of have to know that that's what that's for. But it will, if you push it once, it will bring up the memory and then the menus, and then it will walk you through them by rotating the tuning knob for the side that was main at the time you did that. They are in alphabetical order. They also have a number associated with them. If you want to see the entire list of all the different functions that you can set with that, you will want to go back and refer to the manual. Now let's go through the right side lower keys. They perform the same functions as the left, but know that there is a menu mod that will allow you to make them do different functions. For example, if you have a need to do reverse functionality on a repeater, you'll have to go into the menu, turn that key mod on, then those buttons on the right will do a different function. Let's talk about the two tuning knobs. The upper right tuning knob acts just like the one on the left-hand side if the right side has been selected. You'll see when it's selected it's because you've pushed in on it once quickly, and that selects it as the main. If you change sides, you can select it by clicking the other side. You'll hear a little tone come with that, and the word main will move from the right side to the left side. If you do that, that's the side you're going to be transmitting from. So once you've selected it as the main, when you key the mic, that's the one that's going to be working, that's the frequency you're going to be on, and all the settings will be based on whatever that side is set to. The lower right-hand side one is a little bit different. It still provides volume control function for that side of the radio. It also provides squelch control for that side of the radio as well. The upper right button also does just as it does on the left, in that it will change, if you are in VFO mode, it will change to the band. Remember that the right side is only 2 meters and 70 centimeters, or 440. On the back of the radio, there are 4 jacks that might be of interest to you. There's an antenna connection, which is a standard SO239 female connection. There's a power jack, which is made up of a T connector. There's a speaker jack for remoting the audio someplace other than using the speaker that's built into the radio, which is very convenient. And there is a 6-pin DIN data jack on the back, which is the preferred method for hooking up the TNC. The microphone that's used in both of these radios is the Yaesu MH48. It's common in the United States models of these radios. You'll see the push-to-talk button on the left-hand side, pretty standard positioning. There is a keypad that has a full DTMF 16-button pad, and it has 4 priority buttons. P1, its standard configuration is to swap between the left-hand sides and the right-hand sides of the radio. So this does the same as pushing in on the tuning knobs to select which side you want to transmit from. The P2 swaps between VFO and memory on the side that is selected as main at that time. The P3 toggles the CTCSS tone mode, so you can go from encode only, encode and decode, digital coded squelch, and then totally off by clicking through that by pushing the P3 button repeatedly. And P4 toggles between the power levels. So again, you can go through the 4 levels: low, mid 1, mid 2, and high using the P4 button. Please do not reprogram these into any other configuration other than the defaults. There is a lamp button on the side, or a slide switch accurately. That lights the lights that are behind the buttons and numbers on the front of the microphone. And above that switch is the lock button. It locks all the buttons except the DTMF tones and the push-to-talk switch, so that if you were to inadvertently hit one of those, you wouldn't change anything on the radio. The up and down buttons are on the very top of the microphone, and those can be used to move yourself up and down through the memory channels, or you can step through, if you're in VFO mode, in small frequency jumps there. That's the microphone. Please do not disconnect the microphone when the radio is powered up. That has been known to cause the radio a great deal of problems by shorting the pins in the connector on the side.